Mark and Paulette here, the True Travelers in Mexico. And we are here with, go ahead and Larry. Go ahead and introduce yourself and Larry.
And my wife Diane, who's camera shy.
Camera shy, lovely but camera shy, so she's sitting off to the side there. Now, Larry, tell us a little about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. I have been living in Peterborough for 14 years. And
as he looks at his wife for approval on his answer.
Well, I'm getting the hand going here too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, move on.
Move on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I'll be the director. There you go.
Yeah. I'm retired. Been retired for a number of years, and since I've retired, we've been doing a lot of traveling. We never did much traveling before I retired, and Mexico seems to be our favorite spot.
Okay.
We've been coming here 10, 12 different times for different lengths of times, and this time we're about 2.5 months. We're going to be here, heading back at the end of January.
Curiosity, what other countries have you been to other than Mexico?
We've been to South Korea. We went over when our first grandson was born. Turkey and the United Arab Emirates, and we've been to the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
And we couple excursions into the U.S.
Okay. So of all those places that you visited, Mexico is your favorite?
It seems to be a recurring thing, yes.
Yeah, recurring thing, having been here a dozen times, or how many ever times it is. What places have you visited in Mexico?
Oh, where do I start? To Mexico City. We've been to Oaxaca. We've been to San Cristobal La Casa. We've been to Huatulco, Mazunte, San Miguel. We've been to Querétaro, Guanajuato, Puerto Vallarta, and
Your lovely wife keeps saying Merida.
we've been to Merida. Yeah, we've been to Merida a couple of times, and we've been to Cancun and Acapulco. So yeah.
And of course, now you're here in San Luis Potosí.
Yes.
So, of the cities that you mentioned in Mexico, which ones did you like the most, do you think?
I don't think there's any that we haven't liked.
Mm-hmm.
Each has its own characteristics.
Yeah.
And
Is there any you'd revisit because you liked it that much?
well, we're going to Merida for the month of January.
Okay.
And Mazunte, we've been there a couple of times.
You said Mazunte?
Mazunte. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, twice we've been there. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's where we had a bit of a boat excursion, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Now people want to know, did the authorities have to get involved on that one?
No. It was an incident where we were trying to land, and the motor quit on the boat, and a wave caught the boat, and it flipped the boat, and Diane got under the boat.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, my head was with that.
yeah.
Oh my God, how scary.
That was a little bit of an excitement.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
An
imagine.
adventure.
Yeah. Now you're talking about possibly not really moving to Mexico per se, but maybe spending a few months here each year.
Well, not in San Luis Potosí in
Right,
Mexico.
just in different places.
That's my wife's wishes.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure I'm on the same wave-length at this point in time, but I'm keeping it open.
Well,
There you
you've
go.
heard that expression, haven't you?
Happy wife, happy life.
Uh-huh.
Is that how it goes?
Is that not a Canada thing?
Well, I don't know.
So what's your impression of San Luis Potosí being here for the last 6 days or whatever?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. Certainly the streets, the way they got the streets laid out here, and and the vendors, there's street upon street, and the churches and the architecture, like it's striking.
Yeah.
It is quite striking.
Yeah. What is it that you like about Mexico? I mean, you've been back
What
here.
draws you back,
Yeah,
put it that way.
being back as many times as you come back.
Yeah.
Well, I like traveling to different places, not staying in one spot too long. As I said, the architecture, the culture, the people, and of course the food is
Yeah.
quite remarkable, and I certainly enjoy it. And I try
Yeah.
different dishes.
Especially in Mexico, you go to different cities and the foods are different.
Right.
Even though on the menu, you know,
They're the same thing.
they're the same thing, but each city seems to put their own spin on that food and how it's prepared and how it's cooked and the different flavors and ingredients that are added to it. And so sometimes eating food here can be a bit of an adventure because you don't always know quite what you're getting.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't mind trying
Yeah,
things at least once.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So tell us what your adventure is on your 2 months. You started out in San Luis, right?
No, we started out in Querétaro,
Yeah.
Okay.
and then we went to Guanajuato.
Okay.
We're now here in San Luis.
Okay.
Then we go to Leon next, then Morelia,
Okay.
Pascuaro. We're in Mexico City for Christmas, and then New Year's in the month of January we're in Merida.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff to see for sure. And you have, well, you have been, you've been to Mexico City before?
Yes.
Nice adventure, nice travel, nice time away.
Yeah.
Yeah, we keep talking to the kids back home and letting them know how well we're doing and how we're not missing the winter.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that. So you're not missing like shoveling snow or anything, or
Not at the moment, Al, but
Yeah.
I don't mind. I don't mind that actually.
because you actually like the winters, right?
I don't mind the winter.
Yeah.
There's a standing joke on the street there that I'm the first one to have the sidewalk cleared out after snow.
Yeah.
And that could be at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm an early
that's-
riser.
Yeah, that's real early if you're doing it at that time of the day. You're not the guy that blows all your snow into other people's yards, are you?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No, I don't.
And you were telling us about an interesting, I would say encounter, but you were walking to the Leonore Carrington Museum, but taking some
Oh, yeah,
different
tell
ways.
that.
Oh yeah, I was trying to use Google Maps to get me around, and I somehow started off the wrong way. I think I should have went that way, and I ended up going that way. So that got me twisted around, and we'd been walking about half an hour or so, and going down the street, and a gentleman pulled up and says, "Are you guys lost?" And I said, "No, I'm not lost, but I don't know where I'm going." He says, "Can I help you? Hop in." So we did. And it just so happened we were 2 blocks from our destination.
Yeah. But still, I mean, that's the kind of thing you probably wouldn't see in the U.S. I don't know if you would find that in Canada or not.
Maybe not so much. Maybe somebody will tell us how to get there, but not
Yeah.
necessarily offer us
To
a ride.
actually take you there.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then you said that you guys wanted to offer him some money or something and they wouldn't take it?
Yeah, I offered him some money, but
Yeah.
he said no, which is quite generous of the gentleman, and was appreciated too.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do see that a lot. Paulette and I have experienced things like that here in Mexico too, where
Yeah.
people willing to go, you know, literal strangers willing to go above and beyond that extra mile to help you out.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I was here in San Luis. I noticed that the drivers are a lot more courteous. You want to cross the street, they'll stop, whereas other locations You take your life in your hands.
Yeah, that's true. Some locations you step out in the street and you're fair game for the driver.
Well, yeah, ask my wife about that. We had a close encounter. It was in Merida, and we had a close encounter. We were crossing on a green light.
Doesn't matter.
It didn't matter. So, anyway.
Pedestrians don't really have the right here in Mexico.
Well, in
It's a little
Canada
bit
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
In the
U.S.
United
you
States,
do
they
too.
pretty much
So
do.
that's really, an adjustment you have to make as a pedestrian, knowing that that car's not necessarily going to yield or stop for you.
Right.
Um,
And sometimes
so-
it takes you, waiting on the corner, I don't know, 10, 12 cars before somebody
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
stop for you.
Right, and then they'll very often, motion for you to cross the
Right,
street
yeah.
or something.
Well, that's something that I see a lot here, where they will stop and motion you across, which is different from some cities that I've been in here in Mexico.
Well, in the United States, sometimes they motion you, but it's with the middle finger.
Oh, well, we do metric in Canada.
Metric in Canada. Yeah, he's either giving me the finger or he's going to pick his nose, one of the two. Yeah. So, do you have any final thoughts about Mexico? Anything you'd like to add?
Or tell anybody that's hesitant on coming to Mexico because they're going to get murdered as soon as they cross the border?
Well, we've had family members tell us that, and we have yet to see it.
Yeah.
We hear about the odd thing, but it's no different back home.
We've had family members tell us that too, but
Friends.
ironically, we've also had some Mexican friends express that same concern crossing into the U.S.
Yeah.
That something bad would happen
They
to
were
them on
crossing
the
into
other
Texas,
side.
right? Was
Yeah.
it Texas?
Yeah.
And they were
So,
really scared about crossing the border, not knowing what would happen.
Yeah.
They thought that they were going to get murdered.
I mean, like Paulette and I have been here for 3 years, and we feel very safe there. Maybe probably even safer than we did in the
United
U.S.
States, yeah. I think so.
Well, one thing I'll say about Mexico is their bus system here is fantastic.
Oh, isn't it though?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't beat it.
Yeah.
Buses
Uh-huh.
and the cost of travel is
Yeah.
quite reasonable.
Yeah, we've said this before, but the bus system here in Mexico is fantastic too. Good comfortable buses. Every seat on most buses that we've ridden on has TVs on them with some entertainment system.
Oh,
that
yeah.
you can
1,
use
2,
or-
3, and 4 are the best seats in the front because you
Yeah,
get the
because
most
those are
leg room.
the best seats for a guy that's 6'5" to sit in, so that I can spread my legs out rather than having my knees in my chest.
And they have restrooms.
Yeah.
There's usually
Yeah.
2 restrooms, I think, in the back.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
when's your next trip back to Mexico after you go back in January, do you think?
Well, we don't know. Originally, when we were planning this trip, we were planning it to come the end of October so we could be here for the Day of the Dead celebration, but knee surgery sort of delayed that a bit, so we came a little later.
Maybe next year?
Yeah,
Day of the
well,
Dead?
next year.
Yeah, we never know. Take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
And I know Pascuaro really does it up on that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Day of the
island
Dead.
that's out there.
Yeah, Diane checked it out online of the different websites, and it's a big celebration.
What is the
there.
name of that island again? I forget. That's out there.
Benicio.
Inicio, that's right. Inicio. They do it pretty
For those
good.
of you who don't know, there's an island that's got a huge statue at the top.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple of different paths you can take. One of them zigzags up, and for Paulette, that involves several rest stops along the way.
It does, because there's a lot of steps.
Right, and then there's another path that you can take up. It's a little bit easier, but you still have to be in pretty decent shape to make the climb to the top.
Yeah, well, we found that other path
Coming
on
down.
our way down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been nice if we found it at the beginning, but
So-
we didn't.
I don't think that's a trip that will make up that path. I
Yeah.
don't think you'll make it. Not without a tow job, and I'm not towing.
Even Larry has his limits.
You got that right.
From the two travelers in Mexico, as always,
What she did.
What she did.
Bye,
Someone
guys.
was a little slow on that, Larry.
That's okay.
So,
If you're slow, you still get there.
there you go. There
that's
you go.
true, said the tortoise to the rabbit.
I can't make any sarcastic remarks.
Of course you can.
Oh, not with her here.